is always good to have a couple of lawyers on speed dial.
That's right. Julisa's with Rio and Caraway tackling some of the top stories this morning.
It is always good to have some lawyers on speed dial, let me tell you. And lucky for me, I got these two. I've got Dan and Chuck with Rio and Caraway. Always great to see you both. Hello. You look so fancy in your black suit. All right, we've got three stories here that we're going to tackle. We definitely could use your insight. This first one, a local story that we covered earlier this month out of Woodland. A school bus filled with students was traveling from a trip there, and the bus caught fire, as you can see in these images here. This was traveling on I-5 in Sacramento. Fortunately, there were no injuries reported so far, but there's certainly concern by the community and, of course, the parents. What a scary situation for these kids. And one of the things that has sparked some concern among these parents is that the school did send out an email following the incident, but really didn't make a whole lot of mention to the actual fire. Like, there was an actual fire on the bus. And, you know, the email kind of made it sound more like a malfunction, like a flat tire or something like that. So there was concern there. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this is a concern on a few levels. First, starting that it's a bus. Common carrier, which means they owe the highest duty of care to their passengers. Now, you're also dealing with a school. This is a school, this has children. This is, again, one of our highest concerns. When you're dealing with something like a fire that happens on a vehicle, that's generally going to be caused by something that's going to be a maintenance level issue. Something rubs, something, catches fire, something wasn't cleaned out. So you're dealing with now concerns that there are maintenance issues, ongoing issues that aren't being addressed. Of course, the parents don't feel good about it because they're in the dark. There's not much information. Luckily, as we said, there's no immediate injuries that we can see. But of course, with young children, concerns of things like respiratory problems, asthma, issues like that. And being that it's a public entity, there's only 6 months that they have to make that claim. So being that this just occurred, we're going to see how this shakes out probably by June.
Okay. All right. This next story here out of Panera, they're now facing another lawsuit after someone had this charged lemonade, right, that has an insane amount of caffeine in it, and had a heart attack after a gym and drinking not one, not two, but 3 of these lemonades.
So this is terrifying on a couple levels.
Yeah.
First of all, we talk about things like how restaurants disclose things like calories.
Right.
But we don't think of it in terms of something else like caffeine. There's a daily recommended limit of caffeine. It's about 400 milligrams. This drink, one serving of it is right there. So you're already getting this lemonade, which is, touted as being healthy and organic and all these great qualities. It's actually on one of their programs where you can have unlimited amounts of it per month. So it's literally encouraged by the company to drink in large quantities this way. And here it is, something that the single serving is literally your daily maximum.
Right.
I don't know about you, but on a hot day, I don't go and think to myself, God, don't have a lot of lemonade. Having more is pretty much common. Every single one is now doubling, tripling, as with this guy, the amount of caffeine you're supposed to have per day. So yeah, that is a concern. So unfortunately, there's issues of notice here. There's issues of, is it just by itself intrinsically too much caffeine that's in there? It's like having an energy drink. You have to know when you pick that up by some meaningful warning. That there is something you should be aware of here, that you're hitting a maximum and you cannot go any further.
Right, absolutely. All right, this last one real quick here. The groom whose bride was killed on their wedding night forced now to fight her mom over their estate. I feel like there's so much going on here. Such a tragic situation that really still looks like there's some, bad blood between the family.
So yeah, this is just layer upon layer of tragedy. You have a bride and a groom that are literally leaving the reception and they're riding in a golf cart. They're rear-ended, and unfortunately the bride is killed, and the groom is tragically injured as well. And so what's happened is you have 2 different things here. You have a lawsuit by the groom for the wrongful death of his now wife, and then you also have the mother of the bride challenging the validity of the wedding. And the reason she's doing that is because she now gets everything that the bride would have left to her husband. She wants it for herself. She said that she doesn't want it for any other reason other than she thinks that's what her daughter would have wanted, for them to share it. But the groom has actually offered half of everything, and she's declined it. So you have to look at what is she challenging. The first thing is she's challenging the certificate itself. When I first looked at this, what I was thinking to myself was that she was challenging the validity of the certificate because while they had signed it, it hadn't been turned in yet. But no, they turned it in. It was, I think, 3 days later, a judge said that they were married, and that was valid. Not to mention the ceremony itself would have been de facto enough. She's looking at it and saying there was fraud because one of the witnesses said that they knew the bride for 36 years, even though she was only 34. Yeah. And the other one was that the form said that they were living together after the wedding, which couldn't have occurred because she passed away.
Right.
When you look at law in California, what you're going to look at is whether or not that would have been prejudicial or had any type of effect on the validity of the marriage itself. And in all honesty, no.
Yeah.
Second thing is you have the wrongful death claim. The mother is going after that. In California, we have a rule called the Dram Shop Act. They actually received monies in a payout for this. In California, a bar or anybody that serves alcohol is not responsible if somebody is drunk and they cause injury to somebody else, unless they knew or reasonably should have known they were serving to an obviously intoxicated person. So that's what would have to occur in that case.
We're likely going to hear more on this case for sure. Dan, Chuck, always great to see you. Del Rio and Caraway, thanks so much. Back over to you.